Hello, I'm Elton Robinson with your August 12th grain and oilseed update. According to USDA's August crop report released this morning, U.S. corn production is forecast at 15.2 billion bushels, up 11% from last year. Based on conditions as of August 1st, yields are expected to average 175.1 bushels per acre, up 6.7 bushels from 2015. If realized, this would be the highest yield and production on record for the United States. Soybean production is forecast at a record 4.06 billion bushels, up 3% from last year. Yields are expected to average a record 48.9 bushels per acre, up 0.9 tenths of a bushel from last year. Area for harvest in the United States is forecast at a record 83 million acres. All wheat production at 2.32 billion bushels is up 3% from the July forecast and up 13% from 2015. Yield is forecast at 52.6 bushels per acre, up 1.3 bushels from last month and 9 bushels from last year. Winter wheat production is forecast at 1.66 billion bushels, up 2% from the July forecast and up 21% from 2015. Yield is forecast at 54.9 bushels per acre, up 1 bushel from last month and up 12.4 bushels from last year. Durum wheat production is forecast at 91.7 million bushels, up 11% from both July and 2015. Yield is forecast at 44.1 bushels per acre. U.S. rice production is forecast at 244.3 million hundredweight, a 52 million hundredweight increase over last year. And now on to the latest export report for the week ending August the 4th. Wheat exports of 406,000 metric tons were down 30% from the previous week and 11% from the prior full week average, with Indonesia, Colombia, Mexico, Chile, South Korea, and the Philippines as primary destinations. Corn exports of 1.44 million metric tons were up 27% from the previous week and 16% from the prior full week average. Primary customers were Mexico, Japan, South Korea, Saudi Arabia, and Egypt. Grain sorghum exports of 241,000 metric tons were up noticeably from the previous week and from the prior full week average. China was the major destination, with Colombia and Mexico taking lesser amounts. Rice exports totaled 59,000 metric tons and were primarily to Venezuela, Haiti, Mexico, and Japan. Soybean exports of 1.1 million metric tons were up 49% from the previous week and up noticeably from the prior full week average. China took nearly half of the exports, followed by Vietnam, Spain, the Netherlands, and Pakistan. Soybean meal exports of 79,000 metric tons were down 62% from the previous week and 59% from the prior full week average. Primary destinations were the Dominican Republic, Mexico, Canada, the Philippines, and Colombia. Soybean oil exports of 20,000 metric tons were down 53% from the previous week and 31% from the prior full week average. Algeria took the lion's share of the exports. Beef exports of 14,000 metric tons were down 3% from the previous week, but up 4% from the prior full week average, with Japan, South Korea, and Mexico as primary destinations, while pork exports of 17,000 metric tons were down 8% from the previous week and 5% from the prior full week average. Mexico, Japan, Canada, and China were primary customers. Well, that's it for this week's report. I'm Elton Robinson. See you next week.